Hey, so I thought I would talk about this Kendrick Lamar Drake feud that really started to gain some steam over the last couple days. Both of them releasing diss tracks, coming out pretty hard against each other. And normally, like, this isn't the type of thing that interests me. Like, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I love the album Damn is like maybe a top 20 album for me. And I don't care very much for Drake. Like, I think I don't pay attention to him. I think he's kind of vanilla sounding, very unsurprising, uninspired music, and like I don't think it's very creative. I think it's mostly background music for people who are playing video games or something. So I don't really care about Drake very much. So I tend to not pay attention to him, and thus not like this type of thing. But since the Diddy lawsuit came out in February of this year, I've been paying more attention because that was like a huge bombshell. And like right now, it's not really being talked about very much. And if you didn't see that, there's like crazy allegations about Diddy and sex trafficking and underage women and drugging people without them knowing it at their parties, and like all sorts of blackmail film on people from his parties, on celebrities and all sorts of stuff. And that's crazy. I did a video about that, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I think, at this point. And because it just seems like it's probably very similar to the Epstein situation, just in the music industry. Anyway, but since that happened, I've just been more acutely aware of what's going on because I think there's a lot of tentacles. It's like, it's not just Diddy. It's like, there's a lot of other people being named in in that lawsuit, record execs like Lucian Grange and other record companies. And it's just kind of a crazy thing. So Drake is very powerful in the industry too. He's like kind of at the one of the, I mean, if he might even be as powerful or as successful as Diddy. I think Diddy might be a billionaire. Drake might be pretty close to so many albums he's sold. Anyway, so I'm paying more attention to this now than I was before. And so there's been a feud for a long time, over a decade, between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And then what's happened in the last couple of days is Drake released a diss track really going hard after Kendrick Lamar. The song is called Family Matters, and that went out May 3rd. And immediately after, on May 4th, you see Meet the Grams, which is a Kendrick Lamar track. Like the day after, Kendrick Lamar track came out going after Drake. So I looked into, like I listened, the song's really cool. There was a second one too that came out the same day. We'll talk about that. But I was reading through the lyrics and I'm like, what the hell does all this mean? So I looked into it, and anyway, I figured I'd give you a little bit of the details and the background on the feud, and then kind of what this means and maybe how it ties with Diddy. But basically, it started in 2011. The two of them meet. Kendrick is, I think, playing a show that Drake sees, and they got to hanging out a little bit. Actually, Kendrick gave Drake his album Section 80 before it had gone out. So like only Kendrick's team had heard that and Drake heard it. Drake thought it was really cool, thinks that Kendrick's really talented, and helps him out, brings him on tour. Drake puts Kendrick Lamar on Take Care, and like it sort of takes him under his wing, brings him out to experience the rap life. And after that, Kendrick starts to like publicly talk about how he's worried about money, or the life of being a musician changing him, or celebrity changing him. And what's kind of the undercurrent of that is, I think he's experiencing what that looks like with Drake, and he's not liking what he sees. And so he wants to try to keep some distance there. So that's 2011 and 2012. And then in 2012, there's this situation where DMX on record, he's on, I don't know, some show or something, and he talks about wanting to beat Drake up, and he's like making fun of Drake. And Kendrick thinks it's hilarious. Drake obviously sees that. He's sensitive about it. And then what happens later is there's just years of them chirping back and forth. And I'll save you some of those details because it's just like over and over. But the gist of it is mostly it's Kendrick Lamar. Like on different songs, he'll just kind of take shots or underhanded comments towards Drake. And some of them seem playful and some of them don't. But it's escalated over time. And mostly, though, during that time, I would say Drake has tried to squash it, but then Kendrick Lamar would kind of come back and say something, take more digs at him. It gets more and more overt as we go. And then after 2017 and Kendrick Lamar releases Damn, he takes a break. He takes like a 5-year break before he releases anything. And during that time, Drake's taking shots at Kendrick, like, oh, you think this guy's so great? He's won a bunch of Grammys, but where has he been for the last 5 years? I'm consistently putting out records, year after year, I'm always like top of the Spotify charts, top of Billboard, selling a ton of records. Like that's what it means. This is what a legacy is. So 2022, Kendrick Lamar comes back, drops an album. Another thing that had been going on is for a few years now, it had come out that Drake had been using ghostwriters to help him write his raps. And of course, Kendrick Lamar was taking shots at him for that. So finally, though, Drake's had enough. And on May 3rd, just a couple of days ago, he drops a song called Family Matters, which is absolutely directed at Kendrick Lamar. And it, Kendrick said, don't name me, but he specifically names him. This is how one of the verse starts. Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now. Where's your uncle at? Because I want to talk to the man of the house. You should read all the lyrics. They're crazy. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it. But basically, it also ends by him saying, you're dead. So then on May 4th, Kendrick Lamar drops the song Meet the Grahams. Now, Graham is Drake's last name. So, Meet the Family was Drake's track, and now Kendrick's like, I warned you. Now we're going to talk about you and your family. So Meet the Grahams is the song. And we're going to go through some of these lyrics because they're crazy, especially if you think about it in terms of like in the context of the Diddy lawsuit that just came out. Because some of the things that he's talking about, Kendrick Lamar is talking about here, if true, puts him in that space. So let's look through it. But so the themes here though are like calling out Drake for being a bad parent, talking about like the cycle of violence, how Drake's parents weren't good to him, and Drake is continuing that cycle. Talks about his addictions, his gambling, sex trafficking, etc. And Kendrick Lamar directly talks to Drake's family members. And here's where it starts. Starts with talking to his son, Adonis. It goes, Dear Adonis, this is Drake's 6-year-old son. And he says, life is hard, I know. The challenge is always going to beat us home. Sometimes our parents make mistakes that affect us until we grown. And you're a good kid that needs good leadership. Let me be your mentor since your daddy don't teach you shit. So he's saying, your dad's when you get older, you're going to realize your dad's a bad person. But I'll be your mentor. I'll take care of you. That's a pretty big slight. Then he says, never let a man piss on your leg, son. Either you die right there or pop that man in the head, son. And what he's referring to is this crazy story that Drake let T.I. take a piss on him, like pee all over him. I don't know. And the same rumor that Drake has some sort of piss kink. I don't know. It's gross. But saying, don't let anybody do that to you. Yeah. Then he goes on to say, even if it don't benefit your goals, do some push-ups, get some discipline. Don't cut them corners like your daddy did. Fuck with Ozempic did. He says, don't pay to play with them. Brazilians get a gym membership. And what he's referring to here is this rumor that Drake has a BBL, which is a Brazilian booty lift. So instead of going to the gym, he's getting an implant for his ass. The end of the verse goes, a lot of superstars that ain't real, but your daddy, a lot of superstars that's real, but your daddy ain't one of them. And you're nothing like him. You'll carry yourself as king. Can't understand me right now. Just play this when you're 18. So that's the verse to his son Adonis. Crazy. Then he goes on to the second verse, Dear Sandra. Sandra is Drake's mother. And he says, your son got some habits. I hope you don't undermine them, especially with all the girls that's hurt inside this climate. You a woman, so you know how it feels to be in alignment with emotion, hoping a man can see you and not be blinded. And then he says, he's talking to Drake's dad. He says, Dear Dennis, you gave birth to a master manipulator. And he's basically saying Drake's behavior as I think he specifically says something about commodification of women, etc. But he goes, I'm blaming you for all his gambling addictions, psychopath intuition, the man that likes to play a victim. You raised a horrible person. The nerve of you, Dennis. Sandra, sit down. What I'm about to say is heavy. Now listen. Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think guys like him should die. Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in a cell for the rest of their life. So, now he's making that connection between him and Weinstein. And he says he got sex offenders on his payroll that's got a monthly allowance. A child should never be compromised, and yet he's keeping his children around them, these sex offenders. He says, fuck a rap battle. He should die so all these women can live with a purpose. They be streamlining victims all inside their home and calling them Tinder. Now, this is another crazy story, is that there's a story that came out that Drake has this guy on his payroll and his only job is to go out and find beautiful women, interview them, and bring back the best ones to Drake to have sex with them. So basically his own personal Tinder. That's what that's referring to. Crazy. And then he says, the embassy about to get raided too. It's only a matter of time. This is, of course, the embassy is Drake's home, his mansion, and this is definitely a reference to Diddy's home. Two homes just got raided. So there's a connection there. And then he's talking to other celebrities. He's saying, Avi, LeBron, keep your family away. Steph Curry, keep your family away. To anybody that loves their kids, keep their family away. He's warning people, don't go near Drake. And then this one's heartbreaking. He says, dear baby girl. And who he's talking to is Drake allegedly has an abandoned daughter that he doesn't see. He was 11 years old. And he's talking to her. And Kendrick Lamar is saying he's a narcissist, a misogynist, living inside his songs, trying to destroy families rather than taking care of his own. Should be teaching you timetables or watching Frozen with you, or at your 11th birthday singing poems with you. Instead, he'd be in calling Turks and Caicos, the Caribbean, paying for sex and popping perks, examples that you don't deserve. I want to tell you that you're loved, you're brave, you're kind. You got a gift to change the world and could change your father's mind. Heartbreaking. And then the fourth verse, he says, dear Aubrey. Now Aubrey is Drake's first name. So he's directly talking to Drake. He's saying, I know you're probably thinking I wanted to crash your party, but truthfully, I don't have a hating bone in my body. This is supposed to be a good exhibition within the game, but you fucked up the moment you called out my family's name. He's saying, I warned you, and now I'm coming to get you. Then he says, 37, but you're showing up as a 7-year-old. You got gambling problems, drinking problems, pill popping, and spending problems. You're bad with money, whorehouse, soliciting woman problems. Therapy's a lovely start, but I suggest some ayahuasca. Strip the ego from the bottom. I try to empathize with you because I know you ain't been through nothing. Crave entitlement, but want to be liked so bad that it's puzzling. And what he's saying to Drake is, you're kind of a liar. Like you say, you have all the street cred, but you don't. You came up pampered. Whereas Kendrick Lamar was on government assistance, lived in the projects, etc. So calling him out for being fake. And he says, you're a body shamer. You're going to hide them baby mamas, ain't you? He's basically saying there's other kids out there. You embarrassed of them. That's not right. That ain't how mama raised us. Take that mask off. I want to see what's under them achievements. Why believe you? You never gave us nothing to believe in because you lied about religion, your religious views. You lied about your surgery. Talking about that ass surgery again. You lied about your accent and your past tense, your past. All is perjury. You lied about your ghostwriters. See, again, calling out. You have people ghostwrite your songs. What kind of star are you? You lied about your crew members. You lied on them. You lied for them. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter. You lied about other kids out there hoping that you come. So, and then he says, fuck a rap battle. This a life battle with yourself. Crazy. So that drops. Like the day he had this queued up. You're not doing that in a day. And then on the same exact day, Kendrick Lamar drops Not Like Us. So this is May 4th, like the end of the day, May 4th. And this one, I feel like he had to have done this the same day because he says, the first thing that he says in the song is, Psst, I see dead people. And that is a reference to the end of Family Matters where Drake says, you're dead. Kendrick Lamar is answering him. This is the day after. So he must have done this the same day. And this song is like more of the same. I would highly recommend listening to it. It's a cool song and there's a ton of stuff in here, including he talks about, this is a crazy line. He said, why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired trying to strike a chord? And it's probably A minor. And that's a double entendre, A minor the chord. But he's talking about a minor. There's like pedophilia accusations in here all over the place. He says, and your homeboy needs subpoena that predator move in flocks. That name got to be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. At the end of the song, he says, are you my friend? Are we locked in? Then step this way, step this way, step this way, step this way. And I think what Kendrick Lamar is saying is this isn't over. I got plenty here. So anyway, that's what's going on between Kendrick and Drake. And I'm just going to watch out because if there's any of these connections between Drake and Diddy, I think we're going to start to see that here pretty soon. I've heard rumblings that New York State is going to go after Diddy. And if that happens and he goes into court, then a bunch of stuff is going to come out, going to go public. And I don't know, we'll see what's happening here, but just crazy stuff. And hopefully that gave you a little bit of backstory on what's happening and some clarity around the Kendrick Lamar Drake thing. So thanks for watching. Bye.